Duckies and Dice fans, welcome in today. We've already got a very full chat. Thank you all for being here. We have two incredible guests who are staying up ridiculously late to be with us. Like, we have true saints on the line here, so thank you for coming by and supporting these awesome people. I am Kay. I'm one of your co-hosts. You can find me. I am not going to be streaming much this week because life has me. Y'all, this is terrible. I have to go to the Stardew Valley Symphony Orchestra.
The burden Kay bears for us.
It's terrible. This is what I have to do.
Can we release you from this somehow? Can we save you?
I know,
maybe
I
swap
need
out.
to be saved. But David is determined to stream in my place, so you can find David here streaming something, definitely Friday, maybe Thursday as well. You can find us, please come by if you have the time, Sunday at noon Eastern. I will not be, but we will be running Body and Soul, which is an all-black cast and crew of the old gods of Africa, walking through the different time points in America, the new overlay.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Great.
It's awesome. But that Sunday, oh goodness, I'm doing other things and the calendar's flipping over. Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can find me over at that D'Angelo's channel playing Emerald Templars.
He's awesome. The game is awesome. You're going to have so much fun.
That's where I'm playing. I'm playing a Centaur Oni.
I played a Centaur in my first game with him too.
Yes, we are. Yes, chat. I'm playing a Centaur, and I have discussed accessibility with D'Angelo. Hey, Rex, welcome on in. Rex heard Centaur accessibility and
appeared immediately.
And there's something else I'm going to get to announce here very, very soon that will be happening on Saturdays. But that is enough of me. David, who the heck is you, and what the heck is we doing here?
Hi, I am David and flabbergasted on occasion, and this is the extremely late night in Europe, Wednesday talk show, depending on where you are, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be a better person, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusiveness so that everybody can have a good time.
And I realized I forgot to do a thing, so just
oh yeah.
Okay, hold on. There we go.
Oh.
Separate audio tracks to the VOD.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here with Aida?
Yeah.
Yes! I didn't make an ass of myself, y'all. Aida and Krifu from Horde of Tales. Horde of Tales. Now, we go back further than I thought we did. Krifu actually reminded me that we played a game together, like maybe almost 2 years ago at this point, of Pathfinder.
It was a long while ago.
2E when it first came out. Leslie was in it. And then we adore Pan here on this channel. We made Pan play the My Little Pony TTRPG. They hated it. They hated every moment of it. They hated the very idea.
I loved watching that game. It was so much. We are Pan stans here.
We are all great big Pan stans. But Horde of Tales does some truly incredible things. And coming up is going to be the Women in Gaming Month, which we're going to talk a lot about. But we want to talk about all the stuff you got going on because, y'all, we are very proud that Q trusted us with Body and Soul and that we get to do this whole like awesome all black cast and table. But I mean, Horde of Tales has been doing it longer. So let's talk about some of the cool stuff that y'all do. Tell us who you are. Would either of you like to go first?
Wanna roll for it?
Technically, you have seniority, so I'll give you the option.
Ladies, do
Yeah,
it first.
I was gonna say like seniority in age. Like, no, probably not.
No.
Everyone. It's okay. I'm gonna own it. My name
Ladies
is
first.
Aida. Yes. My pronouns are she and her. I am an immigrant living in the Netherlands. I've been here for very, very long. And I am one of the organizers at Horde of Tales. I've been with Horde of Tales now, I think, 3 years or so. We're a relatively young community, but overall, the community was formed as a way to kind of galvanize and uplift the communities who are TTRPG nerds and who play mostly in UK and European time zones. I'm going to say from here on European, because I'm talking continental European, not political. This is a different talk. I'm sober, so we cannot have that discussion. But when I say EU European, I mean including the UK, including, geographical lines, what have you. But we have that community because, one, it's much more accessible for those fans to play and get to see their fellow neighbors and fellow communities be represented there. And we're also doing it because we want to change the face of the stream. The channel, the community, was originally started as a exclusively German-speaking community in Germany. And the founder, whose name is Kara, a wonderful person, wonderful friend, made it as a response because she saw that her space was very male, mask-oriented, dominated. And she wanted to see more feminine women players. And she hustled, and that happened. Especially there was pushback. Unfortunately, those grognards exist. And Horde of Tales was all about, no, we're going to live our wonderful, diverse, and inclusive best selves. Eventually, the community grew from just being German to more English-speaking European. And now we have organizers that are POC, immigrant, women, femme, gay, male, gender non-conforming. We have it all. And Krifu is one of the newer members of the team, and I was super, super happy to have him. And what's a Krifu?
I definitely felt a little poached, but it's a very nice feeling to have someone sort of headhunt you, I think.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Krifu. My pronouns are he, him. I am new to Horde of Tales. I've been with Horde of Tales, been an official hottie for I think 6 months now. I want to say October, September was when we Pan and I started or joined the official organizer team. Before that, I was one of the founding members and organizers at Manapot Studios for several years, and which is where I started my actual play career until I moved back to Germany in 2021. I'm a dual citizen. I'm half German, half American, and yeah, I specifically wanted to make sure that I didn't have to do these late night streams. Because what I did was I started the EU happy hour. Mm-hmm. And it was a continuation of the happy hour that we had done in Manapot during the pandemic. But with this time, the EU version, specifically to network and to selfishly meet other actual players in Europe, which is how I met Aida and the rest of the organizers at Horde of Tales. I invited them into a happy hour, and then our friendship and relationship began from there. And I was very surprised at how often people would come into the happy hours and say, "Oh, it's so nice to stream at a normal time." And I was shocked at the amount of people that felt like they could only be on American streams. Even when I was on the East Coast, I felt like if I wasn't streaming on West Coast times, because LA has sort of is the center of the actual play universe.
It is what it is.
Whether or not we like it. So as Aida said, we are actively forcing a new regime of actual play power. No, I shouldn't say that.
We love it though.
Yes, but we're trying to encourage Europeans to actual play more and to build out this space here. And having joined Horde of Tales, it's so nice being with people in the same time zones, being with people who have the same intentions.
Absolutely. And I have been incredibly fortunate that I have definitely, let me be clear, I'm not a morning person. I'm a person whose brain and back pain kicks in by 6 a.m. every day. So I am awake at 6, whether I want to be or not. I am not a morning person. If it were up to me, bedtime would be 3 a.m. at the earliest, right? But anxiety has its own schedules. So I've been lucky enough to play with several Europeans, either on American time zones where they've stayed up or done really early or really late streams. And y'all, and I know this is obvious, but I want to make sure it is said because, you know, sometimes, especially Americans, especially like white people, we sometimes do this thing where we're like, well, yeah, but we're the best, right? But the best people are here. The talent in the European actual play scene is incredible. I got to play with Nathan.
Blades.
Yes.
Neoncaster.
Immediately, it's like, yes, this amazing
Incredible.
person you're talking about.
I had never actually, playing with them was the first time I had played, I was playing Girl by Moonlight. And like, I had never played Blades in the Dark either. So I was learning the rule system, but also you have to learn how to think to play that, to really survive in that game. And watching them play both levels of the game, like playing their character, but also working around the system to get their character in the optimal place, I was just like, you are on a whole other level. We've already fanned over Pan, but we're going to fan over Pan again because.
And I love that you specifically do mention Nathan and Pan, because when a lot of people think European casts, they think, not my words, Mayo Vikings like reciting Shakespeare in powdered wigs with a very specific racial and ethnic demographic, and calling out talents like Nathan, like Pan, like Shamini from Oxventure, like the three-back halflings. DJ Starry, the many people we have at Horde of Tales that are also born and raised EU, UK citizens or descendants of immigrants or themselves immigrants. That is what the UK scene looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the old powdered people in wigs speaking with the Queen's accent. It is not this.
Right.
It is looking like this. It's looking like, I'm pointing at Creepy, does it make sense? Like that. It looks like Nathan. It looks like Pan. It looks like all these amazing people, like Castro, like Third Vault Yarns, etc.
Mm-hmm. Also, thank you, Ilaria, for the resub. We appreciate. But yeah, like, and even I got to play with Loving Sunny, who is a Brazilian performer.
Yes.
They're just incredible. Just if you can play, like, and I know this seems obvious because we spend a lot of time on this channel and especially on the show saying, like, play with people who don't necessarily look like you, but play with people from other countries, play with people from other backgrounds, because their understanding of the world, hey, Matt, gets really different. And it's really incredible to be able to bring in, like, Dave and I, it's no secret, we're working on a couple projects. One of them is world building. And just from the descriptions of food that we would never, like, I've eaten that food, but I never would have described it that way, right? Just the descriptions of things and the visuals and the different ways that people use language, whether it's their native language or it's a second language, so they reach for different words than we would. Our worlds are already richer because we are just able to be like, that's the most beautiful description of that thing ever. Yes, I'm using that now.
Absolutely.
And like, to circle back to D'Angelo, that's one of the things that makes Emerald Templars really special, is because of all of the different people that he grabbed to be a part of it, because he could have very easily made it like centered on his own experience and like his own like ancestral background, but instead of that he's like, listen, I'm going to grab everybody I can. And so there are all these different backgrounds and ethnicities and histories represented in Emerald Templars, and that adds so much richness to the system.
It's amazing. D'Angelo is definitely someone I want to be playing with again. I want to be streaming with them again. But unfortunately, time zones are always the biggest challenge. Mm-hmm. And to get over my disappointment of not being so accessible to D'Angelo's wonderful talent, we have to really expand our local community. So for example, I see Aliara, and Aliara, just gonna take Aliara and put them in my pocket.
Yes, I was about to say, like, please go follow Horde of Tales. Like, watch things in your own time zone. That's great.
And doesn't mean we're exclusive. In principle, everyone is welcome. We have people from all parts of North and South America, people from South. We have a lot of Desis. We have a lot of people from India. We have a lot of people from Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Australia on our channel. Everyone is welcome. Everyone, no matter what, is fighting the time zone challenge. But I think the one thing that is unique about Horde of Tales is that we are, in principle, an open sort of channel. We don't have a core cast that does all the shows all the time, whereas you might see a couple of our faces more frequently than others because some of us are like a really gung-ho GMs and we love those people. Marcus, I see you. We love you too. But we essentially do open up the casting to a wider participant pool, and we actively prioritize those outside the US specifically. Doesn't mean that we're excluding them. We're always going to prioritize people who are outside the US alongside with prioritizing people who are POC or BAME, as it's said in the UK as well, who are neurodivergent, who are a underrepresented gender, who are queer. And we love seeing our fellow channels in our time zones as well, but not all. But some of them are just really their amazing group of friends, and that's nice. I'm happy for them, but I want to see more.
And on top of that, we also in our Discord, if you join our Discord, we not only post casting calls for our own shows, but for other channels in our time zones. Just in an effort to further grow that community and offer everyone as many chances as they can to stream in their own time zones.
We're like trying to normalize, at least for ourselves, because we all know Dimension 20, we all know Critical Role, and we love these shows. We're not saying we dislike all the vampire games that happen in the US in respective US cities. They're amazing as well. But it's good to normalize and uplift and say, the game that you are making, Dutch creator, we want to feature that in our event because it's wonderful and we think more people should see it. We want to play these smaller indie games by women and femme. We want to play these local indie games, especially if they're made outside the US as well, that share that perspective. All the more better.
So one of especially for some of the people of color, femmes, queers that I know and adore in this space, it is very easy to fall into, yes, this is a group of friends who play together, because there is a lot of safety in that. You tend to know each other's boundaries, you know what other people are sensitive to, and it's an interesting thing when you're getting a bunch of really talented people together. You always hope they click, but there's always the danger of, oh, there is a culture clash here. And we spend a lot of time talking about safety tools and zero sessions and all of that.
Awesome.
So tell us, what is your approach to table safety, and how is that addressed in your circle?
I'll let you go this. I've been talking a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I was about to say, because coming into Horde of Tales and seeing the architecture that's built into providing safety and comfort at the table, all of the various templates we have, and the assigning a safety officer to specific streams, so that someone who, not just a producer or the GM or whatever marketing, but someone who is going to come in for session 0 and is a completely neutral third-party person. I mean, not totally neutral, they are a Horde of Tales organizer, but to the table, they are technically neutral. And going through the session 0 and going through the Lines and Veils, it totally changed the way I would normally produce an EU happy hour season, in that it was a little bit more haphazard, and in hindsight, it was a little more dangerous, because we're meeting 30 minutes before the stream for the first time, and let's hope it works out. Whereas now it's built into the system. We're doing a session 0, we're doing a vibe check, and it's happened at least a few times where someone has missed the session 0 out of, various reasons, and I have to abide by our channel's rules now and say, hey, you didn't make it, I'm so sorry, you can't be on the stream now because we haven't had that vibe check. But I think our community understands this isn't done maliciously or as a way of controlling or bossing people around. It is genuinely to build that safety and trust for everyone at the table. And it was hard for me at first, changing the way I am approaching it and thinking about it. But
It's more work.
It's more work, but I can definitely say now, after we've completed the first EU happy hour season on Horde of Tales, it's made the streams all that much better.
And one thing I really like of having like a safety officer, specifically having someone to do that, is it also allows the GM to be open about their own lines and veils, because the GMs have to have exactly as much fun as the players and be just as safe.
Exactly. And just to shout out, the idea of having an independent safety officer isn't exclusive or original to Horde of Tales. This is an idea that we have been inspired by Girls Run These Worlds, which is an amazing international organization. A lot of us, me especially, work a lot with them, and we get to see the good practices of our neighbors. Girls Run These Worlds does have a lot of UK and EU organizers, higher ups as well. And from other communities, we see their best practices. And as for Horde of Tales, we like to collate. We like this, we like this, we like this. We put accreditations in because it's very important. Credit where you get your ideas, credit where you get your safety, your lines and veils templates, please, no matter where they're from. And it's also part of the fact that we're going to normalize these sort of things. And it's really good that I'm really honored when other communities say like, hey, I played at Horde of Tales and your lights and veils thing was really cool. Can we borrow that? Here's a link.
Yeah.
Go in safety and fun, friend.
Coming from, I used to work in comics and I work in video games, and we say a lot, you know, good artists don't borrow, they steal. And like, steal the credit, like steal, but David and I infamously, I got to play in a Backwater TTRPG one shot, and I love the system. Alex is a great GM, and they have a luck mechanic where you at the build your character.
We snatched that right up.
So that you pick your luck is either even or odd. And so if you're just wanting to check something, you're like, cool, roll an even-sided dice. Don't care which one. And if your luck is even and you roll even, you get lucky.
Nice.
And we have stolen it, we have put it everywhere, and we have just been. I was explaining this mechanic to someone else at a playtest, and they were like, "Where is that from?" Reddit. Thank you.
Yep.
Spread it around, and go play Backwater. It's American focused, but it's a post-apocalyptic America, redneck, backwoods, swampy. It's very fun. I played Sissy Joe.
And something about like safety tools that a lot of people don't. That isn't talked about a lot, that Kay and I both have experienced as we grow our own platform, is that Chaotic Wholesome Presents, like, safety first has always been our approach, especially since like we've run horror games and we've had all sorts of different people from marginalized communities who are like, listen, this is a safe place for you to play. But your safety tools shape the nature of your games. Like when you have an all-black table and you say, okay, these are the things, like we're going to talk about some heavy racial-based stuff here. That makes it, like when you're upfront about that, it makes it a safe place for your players and for your GM to explore those things. And that gives you license to go in that direction for your game. Whereas if you're running a game that has like really heavy racial themes and you have a black person at your table and you don't say anything, then when they hit that, there's going to be some whiplash. And like, if you've watched enough TTRPGs, you know that some people drop out of games. And you know that there's something that happened behind the scenes that made that person leave, and it was bad, and it was ugly. And like, you know, you're on the outside looking in, you can't write, but you can sense some of the drama that's happening. And so not only making it so that your storytelling elements can be explored in the way that you want, but also making sure that everybody is on the same page and is going to be an active and enthusiastic participant from start to finish. All are important things, because like, you know, we've all seen a TV show where somebody's like, listen, if you don't kill my character immediately, like Star Wars. Alec Guinness in Star Wars. Alec Guinness was like, this is dumb. Get me out of here. And they had to write him out. And like you watch it and you're like, that's a little, and then you hear the story and you're like, okay, I get why they did, but you want to avoid those moments in your campaign, and you also want to open up the avenues that you can explore. Like in and Kay will tell you, because we ran TSR, or rather we produced TSR a couple years ago, and there was a whole lot of like flirting at tables and stuff. And because it was all like queer focused, I was like, I'm out of here. And I mean, just like Kay is like, hey, listen, this is Black Table, I'm out of here. And you know, that it created a way for them to interact with each other in a much more open way, that you don't get to see in a lot of places because people don't have those tools laid out. So it's more than just like player safety. Obviously, player safety is the most important, but that extra work, like Chifu was saying, like that extra work plays on the camera.
Right, and it once you've done that work, if things happen during the campaign or change during the campaign, we had a vampire stream, and one of the players at some point was like, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with you flirting with me as the storyteller in character." And I'm, okay, great. We're placing that now down as a veil or as a line, and we know we can have a conversation without it turning into someone needing to drop out or there being an implosion of the table.
You had a mature, straight, communicative conversation like adults?
That's ridiculous.
Without
wild
That's fiction.
And burning bridges behind you?
Well, and David and I, you know, we've run a couple horror campaigns at this point, and I am always, it's interesting because I've played in horror and non-horror games where the GM is like, I don't want to tell you too much because I want this to feel real and scary and I want you to feel the pressure. And I'm like, I'm going to overtell you what might be in this. And like at one point we were running a part where no one even had on their lines and veils like loss of player control as like a line or a veil, but I was still like, there was one scene, it was Godplane. There's a thing where every character kind of gets their own trial created specifically for that character, and it's like a character growth moment. And one of them, I'm like, there's a very real chance if you get to a thing tonight, you're going to lose control of your character. You will have very limited options in what you can do. I'm telling you that now so that you're prepared when that scene is over, you will be back in control. Because David and I've talked a lot about Lou Reed from Dimension 20 was doing an interview, and he was like, I was the snack person. People would show up and it'd be like, okay, we've got 3 pizzas coming, we've got chicken wings, we've got blah, 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 blah. This is what's happening with food. I have already ordered it. You all owe me this much, and this is what we're going to do. And he's like, because I can be an elf now, because we're going to eat later. Right? And that's
fair.
What people need, right? Like, and I find you get such better performances out of players, especially in like horror, because it's like, I know where the lines are. I know there's an eject button. I know I've got a parachute. I can get out of the situation at any time I need to. No one's going to make me feel bad. So I can be comfortable enough to push myself in this space where I as a player might be uncomfortable. And at one point we actually had to shut down a scene because it was like moving into like an uncomfortable relationship abuse moment. And the player was like, keep going. And I'm like, we're good. We've gotten the point across. The player's like, but we could keep going. And we finished. And the player was like, you could keep going.
We're dialed in.
And then the GM's safety matters too, though.
Well, I mean, it was more, is this really content we want to really be putting out? Like, I get, especially when you're in that moment, right? Because the audience is also a considering factor. And then they went back and watched the scene and were like, yeah, no, not being in that moment, not being me, yeah, it was good that we.
Because that's the thing. My lines when I'm on stream, video, recording are definitely different than when I'm in a home game in private with people that I know from real life. And I think actual play is probably one of the scenes, the role-playing scenes, that's pushing safety tools and growing and expanding them the way it is.
We're super happy about that. Especially what Rex Verdi said in chat, that that everyone needs to be able to talk openly without concern of repercussions. That's something we're really happy that, because of the system we borrowed from GRTW, having that neutral person, because there might be a misexpectation of maybe some person doesn't like confrontation. Maybe some person needs to have a direct talk to them. Neurodivergences, can affect how people receive criticism and feedback. Having a neutral third party saying, you know what, thank you for telling me, and they PM the GM, an anonymous source said this. This is actionable feedback. Now that I've cleared it with you, we're going to clear it with the rest of the channel moving forward. And we're still happy. We're still thumbs upping because this was communicated. And this really helps us play the story right at the line, because that's where it's the most fun. That's where it's juiciest. It's like I was at a theme park last weekend. The roller coaster is fun only when the harness is properly on. I'm pretty short, so I've had a lot of harnesses in the olden days not fit very well. And the feeling of almost flying out when it's doing the loop-de-loos and swirls is not fun.
Not fun.
No, it's the not good scary fun.
And also, like, communicating anything that might be unclear. In more than one session 0, I've had other players go like, okay, we have a veil on harm to children, but what does that mean? Because for some people,
flesh it out.
Is it 7 years old? If someone is playing a 17-year-old, obviously a playable character needs to be in danger. Is it we're in a magical time, so any characters who willingly put themselves in danger? Like that, like where do we define this? And don't be afraid, if this is a thing for you, to actually like ask those questions.
Yeah,
yes,
we totally do.
People like to live on the edge but not fall over. Exactly. Right.
And it takes effort. It takes training to be able to ride that edge regularly and consistently. And we're happy that when people come to our tables, and hopefully they get a positive impression, and then they take that knowledge somewhere else and normalize it there. And we have sort of this cascading effect where the community in general is served by everyone seeing that it's possible. Because you get a lot of naysayers who say, like, it changes the narrative. I know all these people before. What are these snowflakes talking about? One, we've proven we can bounce back from a 30-second check-in. Thumbs up, thumbs down, read like, good. It's a skills issue. Move on. You can do it. We've done it. Easy. Yes. It improves the story, and also teaches you need to communicate the what is the content going forward. Instead of springing the spiders on last minute, hey, up front, I am here going to have a game about all the spiders. The spiders' legs are spiders, and and the world is a giant spider. There are people who would love a game like this. Let them in. Don't spring it on them last minute where someone didn't get to enthusiastically consent.
Yeah, David. Not all the spiders, David.
I back before I got in the saddle
with all the love
of using safety tools, I built an entire section of a campaign around spiders. And like session like 4 or 5, like we'd been at it for a while. And Kay at this point has talked to horses and is trying to talk to every spider they encounter. And then I get a message on Discord. Unfortunately. And I get a message on Discord. It's like, by the way, I have arachnophobia. And I'm like, and I felt awful. And like, he's a close friend of mine. It was really cool. It was really fine. And then, he explained to me, he's like, look, as long as I'm not seeing spiders and you're not describing them in the way that you can, you jerk, then it's fine. Like spiders can exist and they can be around, but if you spend 45 seconds describing the 6 foot tall spider, I'm gonna have a problem. And so it was fine, but it was a real gut check for me. And I'm glad that it happened for me in a safe space, especially before Kay and I went on to do Godplane. But a lot of people have had stumbles and mistakes and like egg on their face from not doing it in much more public and in much less safe places. And some people just like march right on through.
Double down.
And oh man, I've seen that happen live during an actual play, and I'm just like, whoa. And to the people who are like, this changes the narrative and you're soft to get it, do you really want people to be unhappy? Like, do you want somebody to get up and storm off? Because that'll happen. Because people will protect themselves before they let themselves, be abused on camera. And so
or
if you
at a
want
con,
that to happen,
or at a gaming store,
or at a home game.
right? Many a table has been flipped. Like,
and it's real. Like, I also believe that if you can't compensate your story for someone's genuine fear or discomfort, it's a skill issue, right? If you cannot tell a story without there being spiders and rapists, I don't know what to tell you. You're not very good at storytelling. Now, also, it's not a bad idea to double check with your players if your backup idea is maybe. So I did a double check at one point. I'm like, wait, I'm about to bring in a bunch of snakes. Is anyone really not okay with snakes? And they're like, oh no, we're fine with snakes. I'm like, okay,
danger
cool.
noodles.
Because they can, if snakes aren't good, I can make them like flying eels. And everyone is like, no, that's worse. Give us the
right.
What is wrong with you, Kay?
I can see that being worse a little bit. Like not in for me, like in a phobic in a kind of way, but that'd be slimy.
I mean, what's the only thing worse than cockroaches? Flying cockroaches.
Like, I didn't expect, but like everyone at the table was just like, you made it worse. Can we have the snakes, please?
I like being at tables where we can consent to having the egg on your face in that regard. One of the last happy hours I had the pleasure of playing in with Nathan Blades and an amazing other table as well. We played Become One by Ray Najati, amazing game creator. And it's a game where the players are the fractured parts of mecha AI. The human pilot is unconscious and parts of their memories have seeped into this part of the AI, which is separated into anger, fear, love, etc. And we are trying to limp this mecha back home after an awful event. And this was a game where we are explicitly playing the extreme of an emotion. And I opted to play fear. And I said, okay, after our session 0, we always do a vibe checks before people are just tossed into a Discord server. We're like, hey, privately, this is the potential table, vibe check, let me know, and then we'll put you in. We're not going to do it before. Clear, because these people were legends. Chris Mefram is an amazing UK storyteller. I love his work. Some Other Heroes is their channel. They are a queer UK storytelling group. And as the fear character, I really amped it up to 0 to the point where I was like, Aida playing this character, I might end up crying and screaming. But I need to let you know that this was me in RP, and Aida, the person, does not have the acting chops to uncry. So I need to ask you now, can I take it to that level, or should I dial back? Because I cannot uncry. And I promise you, it's the character, not Aida crying. And they're like, Nathan played anger. He laid it on me. And in chat, I was like, yes, hurt me more. With full consent and full enthusiasm. Yes. Nathan was screaming their heads off at us. And we were like, thumbs up, more. Yes. Go.
I love when chat is popping off while the players are like going at each other, and it's like, I'm so sorry, I love you so much, I'm so sorry, my character's such a jerk, and it's like, I love you too, I'm gonna fuck you up so badly right now, hold on, you're not even ready for the secret I'm about to drop. Like, that brings me so much joy as a GM. I'm like, this is a healthy space.
Yeah.
Maybe not healthy to those who don't understand the space, but this is a very healthy space with boundaries.
I recently did a panel where we discussed safety tools, not something as just exclusively it's a proactive thing, but it's also something that affirms that good moment. Instead of just using the X card only to signal a line has been crossed from comfort, use that O regularly to say yes, more. Pop that green light in, like without a prompt saying green, 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 thumb, 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 thumb. Play, 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 play.
It's also really, really cool and useful for, like, if Dave and I are doing a scene and you two are like sitting there and you're not on camera, but you're really enjoying the scene, doing that green of yes, yes, this is good. Like, I'm not bored, I'm dialed in, you are not taking up too much time. Please keep talking.
And I've found that when you have an eject button, when you have safety tools in place, when you have a way to stop, you can push yourself a lot further. And as someone who mostly GMs, like, so at one point there was like I was describing a scene and it was getting really vivid. I was talking to one player, but the other players were like watching and experiencing it, and I could see the player like physically shrinking. And I'm like, am I going? And then like I look and I see like the hands do this, and then like bloop, this is fine, keep going. And I was like, okay. And that gives me a that gives me the green light to keep going, to create a better performance. And like in Exandria Unlimited with Abria and Amy, I think it was, they were doing the like sister brother argument, and like sisters. Yes, listen, it was a long time ago. Okay, twins. But like at one point Abria's like in this moment and she starts crying, but she's like completely in character, and then when the moment's over she's like back out of it, and I'm just like, that is incredible.
Witchcraft.
That is
magic.
But again, like, if they didn't have a comfort or a system in place, if they didn't trust one another in that moment, then Abria wouldn't have been able to get there. Amy would have been like, oh my God, wait a second, what's happening here? And would have broken the moment that they were having.
I don't want to be in a world where Brennan screaming at Luis was not something consensual or not something they enthusiastically opted into and consented to, because that lives in my head rent free.
That is, I convinced several people at work. They're like, I want to watch more TTRPGs. I want to watch more D&D. Like, what should I? I'm like, yeah, go watch Calamity. Go watch Calamity.
Hey,
we were just talking about you.
Ears must have been burned.
We are pan stands.
Change the stream title, pan standing.
But yeah, and I just want to be clear too, and then we're going to move on because we've been on this a lot, and I need to talk about your Women Games Month. But one of the other things to point out is that these check-ins don't have to be before. Like, you can check in the moment, and it does not destroy anything. There was a really, really moving scene between Lauren Oboe and Todd. I've lost his last name. I can see his face. He was the GM for Kendrick.
From D&D Beyond.
Yes.
That one.
And they were playing through, and she was playing Aida, I think. I don't remember the name. Her dragonborn cleric who talks like this and worships the phoenix. And she was having a conversation with her god. right? She is a cleric. She is talking to her god. And her god is like, I don't really like all of this because it means people can summon me whenever they want. I have no control over it. And she asks her god, do you not like it when I summon you? And in that moment, Todd is like, I want to break character for just a moment. Is there an answer you are looking for? Or are you okay with the answer I'm ready to give? And she said, I think I know what the answer is going to be. Oh, Kira, yes, thank you. She's like, I think I know what the answer is going to be, and I'm okay with it. And sure enough, he says, you know, I don't mind when you summon me. And it was beautiful, but it didn't, like, when people say that ruins their, it didn't ruin anything. It made it that much more sincere because the player said, this might hurt me. Whatever the answer is, I am here for it and I am prepared for that fallout, whatever that might be. And that just made
I think the people who are worried about it ruining the narrative or story or flow are more interested and invested in having primary control over the narrative. And taking those moments to check in enforces the collaborative story that we're all trying to tell together.
Right. Exactly.
And one last thing. We've all heard horror stories about Hollywood and about things that have happened on set. And there is a list, an ever-growing list of movies that I will not watch because things that people weren't okay with happened in like important pivotal scenes in the movie. And I personally can't enjoy a movie knowing that, oh man, that actress in this moment, miserable, absolutely miserable. This was Hitchcock films, the one with the birds. Yeah, like I haven't seen it, and now I can't because I know how awful it is. And it's like, didn't need to do all that. And so yeah, like
you probably wanted to get a genuine reaction, but that disrespects the actress's skills and what she was hired to do, what she could have brought, and completely removes any agency of her and any opportunity to show what potential real talent she had to sell that scene in a genuine way without actually creating a traumatic moment.
And the real kicker of that is that Hitchcock used one of the early takes. Like when she was acting, that's one of the that's the take that he used in the final. So the 2.5 days that he did, anyway, that's a whole thing. And yeah,
the other side of it is Die Hard. The scene when he falls off the building.
Yeah.
He said, count of 3 and then we're going to drop you 1, 2, and they dropped him on 2.
Yep.
And he went, that was great. So that was a actor who was respected by the director. Like there was a relationship there.
There was safety and trust there already.
It was kind of a dick move. It was kind of, even if you watched, look, y'all, I'm a Labyrinth fan. I'm sorry. I love the Labyrinth. But they were discussing the scene when Sarah is falling down the Oubliette, completely safe, or the Hall of Hands, right? And she's falling and she's on wires but it was creepy. And they're like, this is a 15-year-old girl. And even though she was completely safe, this was scary, right? And so even though we're at tables and we all know we're completely safe, it's scary. And also, as Rex brought up, you can realize you have an ick or a nope that you weren't aware of in the middle of a game. And you should call those out. I love the X-Men. I went to see Logan. No one warned me that dementia was a major theme of that. Yeah. And I was actively dealing that with multiple members of my family. And I was not prepared for that movie because of that. Had people told me, I wouldn't have watched it then, I would have watched it later, and my month wouldn't have been messed up. So, care about people, be respectful, because you never know what's going on in other people's lives. And the fact that they have a line or a veil that you don't doesn't mean they're soft. It just means they've got some stuff going on. getting off that soapbox, which we've been on for quite a minute. But
It's a good minute though.
they're important soapboxes, and I've been really lucky that some of the people hanging out in chat have reached out and been like, things that you talked about on your show I've implemented, and it has made my tables better, it's made my casting better. And thank you all for those of you who have reached out and been so kind, because we love doing this, and knowing that it helps people makes us keep doing it. You all are doing a Women in Gaming month.
Crap, I gotta get ready.
Right?
When?
I mean, I believe it starts March 8th.
Next
Yeah.
week?
Purchase.
No,
It's-
2 weeks.
Please.
next
Week and a half.
It's week and a half. Yeah.
No,
week and a
next
half.
week.
Yeah.
Next Friday is the
Yeah,
kickoff.
next Friday. Week and a half.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. I'm good. I'll survive, and it'll be awesome.
It is going to be amazing. Tell us what you've got planned. What's on the docket?
So, Women in Gaming Month is now, I believe, our third iteration or fourth iteration, I dare say, now at Horde of Tales. And it started with that German community, and it did a one-shot of all women and femme at the table. Cool. The next year, it ended up being a one-shot and a panel in German. Cool. The year after that happened in English, and there was a whole international cast. Aida played at 1 or 2 tables, and Aida decided, I like this place. I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to dig myself in here. What do you need done? I'm a native English speaker. I can type that better for you because you're juggling 2-3 languages, and I can see where there's some wires crossed. English is hard.
Mhm.
And this year, this is the first time we've managed to align the schedules, and we're going to have it run on March for International Women's Month, where we're going to acknowledge the contributions and the talents and the acknowledge the underrepresentation of women and femme in the overall gaming world, specifically TTRPGs as well. I mean, the big stereotype is the men en masse, especially white ones, playing. And we kind of wanted to not just push back, but just celebrate in our joy. And like Krifu had earlier said, where people are like, wow, it's so nice to play my own time zones. We have a lot of the, wow, I've never played at a table with all women. Wow, I've never played at a table with all femme people. Wow. And it's just this kind of liberation and safety and acknowledgement and mutual joy about that. So that's kind of what we're all about, but TTRPG flavored. For the month of March, starting the 8th, we are going to have 12 games, 3 panels, almost every evening, all at EU, UK accessible times, with a cast all around the world, and everyone who self-identifies as a woman or femme. Trans women are women, period. And also non-binary, gender non-conforming, who themselves identify as femme. So we were also very careful in assuming someone has a feminine face. We didn't automatically invite them. We're like, check out the socials, PM, feel it around. So we're making also care to not have assumptions about who people's gender identity is. We prioritize left and right where we could, POC, queer, neurodivergent, disabled as well. And we're really happy with an extremely diverse and inclusive representative casts all over. And one of the first things we're doing this time is we're also incorporating EU Happy Hour. I'm going to let Prefu talk for a bit about that, how we're doing that.
It's a special edition of the EU Happy Hour, the Wiggum is what we're calling it, I think. I'm producing it, but I'm behind the scenes, and a happy hour regular and dear friend of the channel, Anya of La Leon Cosplay, is going to be jamming Candela Obscura. And I ran the session 0, just the safety portion, and then did some tech stuff in the back and tried to back out of there, not as quickly as possible. I wasn't running away or anything, but just, hey, so give them the space where I'm not listening in, and as we talked about, changing the dynamics that's happening.
It's a flight. It's a 3-parter.
It is a flight. It's a 3-parter. So it's the only Women in Gaming Month stream that has multiple sessions. I think everything else is a one-shot, if I'm correct. Right.
Everything else is a one-shot. We have games like Bubblegum Shoe from Evil Hat. We have Vassin by Freely Corp for scrolling. Clean
David is
Spirit by
really
Cassie
excited to play
Mothin.
Vassin. Sorry.
Oh, it really is. I love this game, and it's loved for any award-winning reasons. Clean Spirit by Cassie Mothwin. Indie games, the Capybara Caper, Here There Be Monsters, where it's just like unapologetically, screamingly gay, wonderful queer energy. Apocalypse Keys, again by Ray Najati. My goodness, what else do we have? We have a game from Grant Howitt, the creator of Honey Heist, called Pride and Extreme Prejudice. You are high society dames, and you have to demonstrate your you have to fight back about the expectation to get married, and the way to do that is by having laser fights in your mechas.
Hey.
Amazing.
We have The Fall of Home, we have Allura, and then we have some amazing panels with some what we consider like really star quality panelists in the EU UK scene. We have, for example, I guess I'm just going to say them now because I'm officially announced them, but you know what? You get a little exclusive. It's okay.
Hey,
We're having
excellent.
a creator talk with Virginia Garcia McShannock, who was an assistant producer at Modifius. So they did games like the Star Trek game. They have their name on amazing credits, and I had an amazing hour-and-a-half discussion with her. We have a panel on creating women and film spaces with my co-conspirator helping me organize this event called Darcy, JC Darcy of of Girls From These Worlds, and dear friend, and hopefully next person I'm going to poach for the hot team. Yes, we always want more. We want talented and excited, enthusiastic hotties. We have panelists like Fiona Hawat, Shamini Bundell, Naomi Thingset, Taylor, and Nix, who are big people in the UK and EU TTRPG scene, sharing their perspective, sharing about tropes and about storytelling. And I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone's joy and getting it was so nice playing at this table. It was so nice seeing all my fellow sisters and femme and bees everywhere, and seeing that this is also being catered at EU UK times specifically, even though the casts are purely international. Because something I feel even before HOT is that there's kind of the impression that there aren't many POC in Europe overall. And if you wanted a racially and ethnically diverse cast, you kind of had to call in people from North America, from the US, for example. And we're really pushing back against it. Yes, we do have them because they're friends and they're always welcome, of course. But we also want to prioritize, we have homegrown talent here. You don't have to export these values, especially when there are some unfortunate voices across Europe who are saying, oh, how American, we don't do that. We don't have that kind of relationship with these difficult topics that clearly they do. No, it's here, it's in the TTRPG community, and we're really honored it's at the Horde of Tales community. And that's gonna be like the big celebration of women in gaming.
And you touched on something that I think is a really important point, which we've seen. Again, I work in video games, so I've seen a lot of it, especially in the video game space, where people are like, we're going to honor women in games. And then they very quickly go like, oh, and also indies, and also trans. And it became this like mess of like, no one was actually, and it's like, is this person too masculine presenting to be part of this group or getting, and it's just like, you've now gone from doing something cool and empowering to being not okay. I really can't support you anymore because, and again, I do think there is a crowbar separation between bigotry and ignorance ignorance can be a symptom of bigotry. But sometimes people just don't know until they are forced to think about a thing, and then they learn and they get better. And sometimes people don't know and they're like, I don't want to know, so I'm just going to come over here into this camp, right? And I'm just going to be a problem for everyone. So yes, if you are looking at doing things to empower groups, first off, like, it is not my job to put together an all-black table or game. That is not my role. If you look like David, maybe it's not your job to put together an all-femme cast or table.
Yep.
Right? Like, you can support, you can offer help, but, you know, don't show up and be like, hi, I, the white person, am going to put together this great black table and David is running it. Surprise, David.
Yeah. And like, it's interesting because both like from people I've talked to in the community and then our experience producing Thirsty Store Lesbians and other charity games for Pride Month, and now doing Body and Soul with an all black cast and production team, like I ended up doing some things for the Rainbow Roll. And Candace, who's in chat, was the captain of that ship, did an incredible job. And honestly, I need to see Candace running more tables in the future. But everything that I did in relation to that was I was like, hey, you guys are doing something cool. If I could help, please let me know. Like, if there's something I could do. And so I ended up writing like a couple of little things for it. And
David is an outstanding thirsty haiku writer. Candace agrees.
they were some of them were pretty good. But again, it was something that I was like, hey, I am offering this thing and it is take it or leave it. The same thing with like Body and Soul. Like, you know, I'm doing production. We've reached out to the GM and we're like, hey, we have these tools available to us. This is the sort of support we can offer. If you want it, here it is. And he's gone, oh, if you could do this, this, and this, that'd be great. And then Kay and I have worked together on that. But it's very, very, very different than Kay going, hey, David, we need an all black table. Go make it happen. Like you know some people who look like you. Go do that. Or Kay reaching out to a bunch of like black folk and be like, hey, we're putting together an all black table and David's running production. And then like the next day, Kay's like, oh, by the way, I put together this all black table and you're running production. Huh? What? And you know, going back to what you both were talking about earlier in like, you know, being a part of something and then like taking a step back and making room for, it's all about like, there are communities, like supporting a community and being a part of a community is two very different things. Mm-hmm. And all of these communities I support, but I am never going to be like the lead or the person that is like driving all this stuff, because there are people who are part of these communities who are chomping at the bit to lead and drive and make all of those things happen. Like, it's not just you being a presumptuous asshole, you're also like taking space away from the people that you are trying to be an ally for.
And you're benefiting from their usually unpaid labor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Your reputation is going up off of the backs of their reputations and their performance. Mm-hmm. And also, not every table is for every person. When we did the Rainbow Roll, which was it was Pride Month, and it was all femmes. And the idea was, like, we sat down and we were discussing it. We're like, how are we going to do this? And we're like, no straight men at the table. No straight cis men at the table, right? Like, okay, there's all sorts of different combinations that we can welcome, but like, you know, if we're going to be thirsty sword lesbians, we want to be able to do it with femmes and queers and trans and people who've had experiences similar to our own. David's like, no problem, check.
See you later.
We had a person almost melt down of like, well, why would I work on something that isn't for me?
Especially
I
as a
distinctly remember
cishet
that.
man, there are 99.9%
Right, it's all for
of
you.
other
It's all
content
for you.
and it's of you.
And you were still welcome to hang out and chat. You are still welcome to comment on the fun and flirtatious and great time that we had. There's still space for you. Just, it's a little awkward when I'm over here with my weird space envy hitting on Candace's character and you're like, what about me? That's just weird. It's a different vibe. I talk about it changes the vibe of the table, changes the vibe of the table.
And like, you don't have to be part of the thing in order to support. Kay and I run charity games every December. Like last year before it was Child's Play, right? Mm-hmm. We're not children. And the games we're running aren't necessarily for children. Like, can children watch them and enjoy them? Yes, but they're not our target audience.
Depends
like,
on
I'm not
Twitch
here making
rating.
Right. Like, I'm not making stuff for 7-year-olds because what would I say to a 7-year-old other than like, go to bed, eat your vegetables, only spend 18 hours with screen time. Anything more than that is unacceptable. But like, and then we raised thousands of dollars for kids who are sick. I don't know any of them kids. All those kids who are suffering from miscellaneous things, like I don't know, like they stubbed their toe or whatever. I don't care. Like, they need health care. We doing a thing. And there are too many people who are like, oh man, I didn't care about multiple sclerosis until my mom got it. Oh man, I didn't care about breast cancer until my mom. And it's like,
Thanks for outing yourself. Thanks for informing me to avoid you.
This is the charity version of like, again, I work in games, and it's all like, so sir, you've never, narrative director, you've never wanted a lead femme character in a game before. Why do you suddenly want one now? Well, I just had a daughter. Yeah, and I want everything in her world to be like great. I want her to know that she could. Okay, and how long have you been married? 10 years. Why? Okay, is your mom still alive? Yeah, why? Oh, you have a sister too, actually. Okay.
So we're gonna have a month of unapologetic talent, enjoyment, storytelling, all primarily organized, produced, herded, GM'd, played, interviewee, panel, moderator, panelist, women and femme.
Amazing.
And I will also add that as we're doing this, I can see in the Discord that what's the word I'm looking for? It's after 1 a.m. here.
Troopers, y'all. Heroes right here.
The types of people that are coming to games and getting opportunities to be in games are changing as well. I look at our friend channels. We're at Lolly Cosplay and Misadventures League, and I see people, POC, queer, femme people who have been in the happy hour, who have signed up for Women in Gaming, and they're getting opportunities at other channels as well. And I think that's just growing and expanding through this work that Aida has been and Darcy have been like pushing like mad, basically.
And we're gonna go to sleep in April, I think.
Yeah. And what I found most exciting is all of the content and all of the people, because like you listed so many systems and so many people.
We made a point, no D&D, no
demographic. That was the word. Sorry.
You got it.
And that's what I find most exciting, is because like so much of the perception of the space is like, 5 white guys at a table.
Every Swedish actual play.
Most American.
Yeah.
Most American. Ooh, man.
UK as well.
Yeah, it's 5 guys with beards. Terrible overlay.
I will not name which one, but
Terrible
I worked for
overlay.
a company during Black Lives Matter movement. It was a European company, and they and this is a company that benefited greatly off of the Black community, and they straight up said, like, we're not going to make a statement because racism is an American problem. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's what I alluded to earlier. When they're
mhm.
like,
No,
I'm
they
like,
said the quiet
no.
part out loud, and I'm just like,
Ooh, woof, woof.
Well,
Um,
Krifu and I have both spent many years. I was born and raised in New York City. Actually, Krifu has been
It's
also.
ironic that we're both Americans, like here, talking about this, but yeah.
well,
So we're like, it is okay, even if you say that, and I disagree. I'm here, and I'm making it your problem now. So no.
exactly. Well, and I want to
Um,
say too, like having more and more people show up and apply and join the community, like that speaks a lot to the work that you put in, because a lot of what we talk about is a lot of channels who do start out like 5 white guys playing together, and there's a space for that. Like there is. Not saying that has to be completely abolished.
There's a space for that off
But
stream.
when the 5 white guys play games only with the other 5 white, and then they go, why don't any women or people of color come play with us? Right? They're like, well, why? And it's like, well, you have to like work, because women, people of color, queer folks, trans folks, like minorities, we kind of expect to be treated a certain way by people who look a certain way. So you have to do the work to prove that you're a safe space. Even within those minority groups, people are kind of often careful about, like, yeah, you might, and David and Candace can speak more to this, but like I've definitely seen moments of like, yes, you might be Black, but you're not a Black person I know. So I don't know.
It absolutely takes work, and it's work that I've recently learned not to take for granted. It's one thing to say we are a safe space, come, everyone is welcome, but unfortunately or fortunately, someone always has to start, and the person who is starting is always going to have the biggest even emotional labor to do it, because for a while you are going to be the only POC person, because not everyone wants to take that gamble. Not everyone might feel like, hey, this is kind of tokenizing. The second, the third, and I think it was even Krifu who pointed it out to me. It was like, yeah, Aida, when you put that video and use yourself recorded, are like, hi, Europeans, are you POC? Please play with me. I'm like you. And I was like, I don't like doing this, but I'm like, it matters, because I have to demonstrate to myself that I am willing to take on emotional labor. I am willing to demonstrate that I'm not just putting words behind it. I want you to see in actuality how much I've prioritized. And I can understand the other perspective where it's like, well, even though you said, I still see majority white tables because demographics are what they are. I can't really fight against that. But I know that there are people, and maybe they're still a little shy. Maybe they still need more encouragement. Maybe they need to see more me. They need to see more Davis. They need to see more Creefus. They need to see more Ks on stream. When they're like, oh, they meant it, and they actually put words behind it. And then they're going to knock on the door, and I'm going to open wide and put them in my pocket and say, there's cookies in there, and we'll talk later.
And we're going to have tea, and it's going to be a great time.
I will say, Aida was one of the first people who said to me, I will not be, we respect each other. I will not be in a stream or in a show, an actual play, if I'm the only person of color there. And that was, for me, the first time where I was like, I do need to change the way I approach casting my games now, because this is a person I respect, and this is a person I want to be in streams with and work on projects with. She's placed a boundary with me now, and and so since then it's completely changed, and I have begun saying it to other people as well, and saying, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a part of another white only cast, but Aida and Pan have put together wonderful lists on social media where you can find POC people in Europe who might want to be in your game. And I know a few people who have been cast in other streams because of that. And so props to Horde of Tales, even though I'm a part of Horde of Tales now.
No, props.
Props, because we are getting people cast and enhancing the diverse representation of the European actual play scene.
And also, POC who are white passing, our POC, don't just cast someone because they look different. Make sure you are actually doing your work and being actually inclusive and not just ticking a box. Because if you're only ticking a box, we notice. We see.
Yeah, there are plenty of platforms. There are plenty of like actual plays. Like rainbow washing is a thing. Like, you know, every June, every like ExxonMobil is like, we support you know, queer people, and it's like, but everything about your company doesn't. Like, it doesn't.
Candace just corrected me. White perceived. Apologies.
And like, you know, with like black players that I've talked to, there's definitely an element of like, okay, there's a black person at this table, but they're just ticking a box. Like, they're there because it's like, oh, we're multicultural or what, and it's just like, and and I've said this before on stream, but a message for all the white people, especially since there are white Europeans who are now like checking things out. We need you. Like, you are not being well, for one, you're not being excluded. If you are a white or cishet dude, or any of the things that represent a majority of this space, there are plenty of opportunities for you out there. Like Kay and I have run like white tables, like that. Like, we don't exclude those people. So, like, you know, look like everybody else looks, get your opportunities, but don't like get bent out of shape when you find a space that isn't for you. What you should do instead is you should go out of your way to support those spaces, because like, whether it is like in politics or in history or in like major social movements, like, you know, gay marriage doesn't happen in the United States if straight people don't go, hey, they need to be able to get married. And, you know, like a white guy signed the Emancipation Proclamation, a white guy signed the Civil Rights Act of 1963. Like, we need white eyes and white support. And guess what? Like, for Women's Month, if you are a cishet dude and you don't want to sit and watch a table of women do anything, let alone play something that you are interested in, that is part of your hobby, then you need to like go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and reflect. And like, as a cishet dude, I love seeing tables with a bunch of women because I like women. But, you know, even if it's not like even if you're ace and that's not like driving you, like, there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of things you're going to enjoy, and things that you don't expect to speak to you will speak to you. So even if it's not your thing or what, check it out anyway, because you're going to find something that you are interested in, because there's too much talent and there's too much interesting stuff all packed in for you to walk away and be like, well, that was all right. Because again, go in the bathroom, look at a mirror, reflect.
And I will also say real quick, like, another tip of the hat to Horde of Tales, because I am sure that you have dealt with issues. I'm sure you have not gotten away without... I know this is a shock, y'all, but there's some drama in TTRPGs. And often, the most important part of a situation is not what you say, but how you say it. Like, it's not everyone can sit around. I know gasps all around from chat. Everyone can say everyone is welcome. But it's not until someone says, hey, this thing that this person did isn't okay and makes me not feel safe. That is the reaction to that. How you handle whatever happens is actually what proves if you are living up to the promises you are making. And sometimes it's not until one of those happens and you prove yourself that the rest of the community will come out, because we are very used to seeing someone say, everyone's welcome. Oh, well, yeah, the white person said something racist, but it's fine. We're just gonna hand wave it.
Yep.
The number of TERFs who call themselves feminists, and it's like, we can't work with you. We can't. If we don't agree on this fundamental important thing, then you're gonna be in the garbage, and we're gonna be over here. And until you dig yourself out of the garbage,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
But we're not going to actually protect you or your back, says Laria. Yes.
In the build-up to Women in Gaming at Horde of Tales, we've revamped our rules, our value, our identity mission statement. Really, it was just like going back and forth. This word will change the meaning. This one, it's never going to be perfect, but I hope someone sees the intention behind here. Lessons learned from previous traumatic experience, previous experiences taken, lessons learned rather, from other communities who have their shit way more together than us, and we're honored that we can learn from them. Every single one shot is going to be having their session zeros starting Monday, all of them. Everyone have their lines and veil sheets pinned. Everyone has safety facilitators who are not at the table, ready to go. It is extra effort. It is extra labor. It is ultimately a labor of love, and it feels like a full-time job. But it's possible, especially myself learning that it's possible when you ask for help and admit you need the help. And you are lucky to have a amazingly supportive and talented team behind you that is going to take over administrative tasks and also jump in and validate your efforts. It's something really important. I don't do that for myself ever. That matters. And that is the driving force that I think, makes our community very special. I'm really proud of what we have at Horde of Tales, even beyond Women in Gaming. I'm really proud of the EU Happy Hour as something that is really shining in our community. I am happy with the previous campaigns we have run that have held these values. I am looking forward to the future campaigns, podcasts, panels, interviews that we're all going to be running. And I hope that people see that these things exist natively, organically in these European time zones, and that everyone else can see it's doable. Because if Aida, who is this disheveled and disorganized but doing best, can do it, then learn from Aida, ask for help, get celebrated, do it, and we're all going to, the rising tide rises all ships. It'll get there.
Disheveled, no, there is not a hair out of place.
No.
Everything is perfect, even this late. So no, we do not stand that here. But yes, that is bringing us towards the end of our times. Chat, do you have any final questions or compliments or commentary you would like to give to our wonderful guests? And as I give you time to type that, any final thoughts that either of you would like to share? And as always, thank you so much for joining us, especially as it's so ridiculously late where you are. Thank you.
No, you.
Well, yes, if you want to continue, if you want to support us, luckily for those of you all who are in the US, our streams are still accessible. If you're doing home office or you're free at 2 p.m. to 30 p.m. Eastern time, this is normally when our streams start for those on the East Coast. And we've got the YouTubes. Oh, I'm losing the thread. We've got the YouTubes, the Discords, the socials, where you can find us all at Horde of Tales. Aida also does our video vault management and all of the shorts and reels that go off on YouTube and Instagram. All of the amazing graphics are also all from her. I just post on Insta and TikTok occasionally what the beautiful stuff she makes. But and that's a part of why I'm so glad to be part of Horde of Tales now, because there's a team and we can rely on each other. And Ida and Darcy are doing all this work in March, but in April, the rest of us we're already scheduling content, and then you can take a well-deserved break.
Candace would like to know, says this is outstanding. How can I refer people to y'all? Just let them know your socials? Question mark.
By all means, follow us on our socials. Follow us. Join our Discord. The community is hopping mostly at European time zones. But in principle, everyone is welcome. We're just going to center content that is accessible by UK time zones. That's really the mission, the identity statement, and the lines we have. The content needs to be accessible at a waking hours to this part of the world. But in principle, anyone and everyone is welcome, provided they are compassionate, kind, and respectful. No one is welcome to being an asshole.
I love that. Rex says, this is awesome to see. Love having more people coming to the table and telling their stories. So yes, this has been a true delight. I'm Kay. I have been one of your hosts. You're not going to see me streaming much this week because IRL is taking me away. Though I am going to miss playing Baldur's Gate 3 with David. I am so
Me too.
for that. But you will not see me Saturday, but please come by our channel for Body and Soul. If you missed the last episode, it is now up on YouTube. Find me on D'Angela's channel playing Emerald Templars at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a good time. I'm playing Uenya, and no one can say that name, which makes it all the more fun.
When is that game? I'm gonna catch
8
the
p.m.
VOD.
Eastern.
What day?
Saturday, I do believe. Yes, Saturdays.
That's the
Cool.
second.
So I know to look for a VOD. So
Yeah, the first episode is up.
Oh.
My poor centaur got caught in a spider web.
The world is a spider,
The world is a spider.
and the web connects us all.
David, who the heck is you, and what the heck is we been doing here, and when can we see you streaming?
I am shooting to take over Kay's slot on Thursday since it is undefended, and I can do whatever. I'm gonna stream something, a game I haven't settled on yet, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and Friday we've been doing 6 p.m. so I'll probably keep that trend going, and then like I said, I'll be behind the scenes with Body and Soul on Saturday. I'm very much looking forward to that, but this is a chaotic wholesome talk show where we talk about cool stuff and cool people who are doing things that I'm very excited about, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusiveness so that everybody can have a good time.
David Rex just said, sorry, I'm not
Oh my God.
Popping in the spider webs. Leave a message. Oh. Ida, tell us one more time, who is you? What is Horde of Tales? And why should everyone be there on the 8th? Just a quick recap on our way out.
Who are you, Krifu?
I'm Krifu. Yes. I'm streaming again tomorrow, actually, on Horde of Tales. It's actually been a while since I've been on a stream, it feels like. 'Cause we've been, spoiler alert, focusing our efforts on a new Horde of Tales podcast.
All of the exclusives today.
2 streams in a week is a little. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. I'll be on Horde of Tales tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. For those of y'all in the US, 7:30 p.m. GMT, where I'm doing a solo play of a Pathfinder 2e adventure from Pathfinder Infinite called Blood on Black Stone. I'll be playing a human witch named Antimony and her fire familiar Chandra. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really worried because I feel like she's very squishy and it's a solo, which I've only done like once or twice with Pathfinder, and so come and help me not be so nervous.
TPK, here we go.
You need chat points to like give you potions or something. Set that up.
Extra hero points.
Oh.
Or
Channel points is dangerous.
have additional character sheets for the TPK.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Nice. As for me, I'm Aida. You can find me on the socials as In the Pan in most places. It's hyphens or unders or dashes in some places. That's what it is. I'm going to be spending another late night because on my calendar it says Saturday, but it's actually Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on the Roll20 channel playing Fiasco. That's going to be a lot of fun with, you get another exclusive, wow, with D'Angelo.
Hey, great.
And after that, we are going to be talking to, on Horde of Tales, we're going Marcus, our interviewer, is going to be talking to Neil from Fey Earth with our Creator Talk series, where we talk to TTRPG creatives focusing on those outside the US. Fey Earth and Neil is starting a Kickstarter soon, and theirs is a homebrew D20 streamlined system that is based in a universe where the Fey coexist with humanity. But this is the Fae as is historically counted in traditional European tales. And we're also sort of 20th century. So catch that 2 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, everything kicks off Women in Gaming Month, starting from March 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And from there, the schedules is going to be coming out. There might be some mid-afternoon things on the weekends for American time zone accessibility. But otherwise, there's going to be VODs, there's going to be shorts, there's going to be fellow Americans on this, so come support them too. And if you really liked it, you're going to see casting calls for it next year, and it's going to get bigger and bigger, and everyone's welcome. We're just going to have a good time.
So exciting. So let's make a deal. Tell D'Angelo I said hi, and then when I play, I'll tell D'Angelo you said hi.
Gotcha.
See if he picks.
I can't wait.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Pan, thank you for staying up so late. Thank you both for staying up so late. This has been a great chat. You all are wonderful. Be kind to yourselves, be excellent to others, and we will see you all next time.